Hi students, welcome to Diamond Group of Institution KC 10 online classes. So today I am going to explain 2008 NEET question paper. So by this we get some knowledge about what kind of questions they are given from the different chapters in total syllabus, in total our chemistry syllabus, and by this we are ready to frame a question framing. Okay, question framing. So how they are asking. Okay, so that kind of knowledge we are gained by this. So that's why I'm explaining the note of NEET 2008 question paper. So here first one, a mixture of 2.3 grams of formic acid and 4.5 grams of oxalic acid is treated with a concentrated H2SO4. So here 2.3 grams of formic acid and 4.5 grams of oxalic acid is treated with concentrated H2SO4. Then the evolved gaseous mixture is passed through KOH. Okay, by the reaction of formic acid and oxalic acid with H2SO4, so some gases evolved. So those evolved gases are passed through KOH pellets. So weights in grams of the remaining product at STP, standard temperature and pressure, is what? That is the question. Option A 1.4, option B 3.0, option C 2.8, option D 4.4. Okay, so first here the hint for this question. So what are the data is given in this question? First I am writing here 2.3 grams of formic acid. So formic acid formula HCOOH is the formic acid, and that formic acid is treated with concentrated H2SO4. So that formic acid is treated with concentrated H2SO4. So concentrated H2SO4, it is act as a dehydrating agent. We already known about that dehydrating agent. Therefore, water is removed. So here water is removed and remaining. So here carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide, water is remaining. Okay, carbon monoxide, water is remaining. So next, in this reaction, carbon monoxide water formation takes place. Okay, carbon monoxide and water formation takes place. So first, and this water is absorbed by the concentrated H2SO4. Next, so first we have to find out the initial moles of formic acid. So number of moles equal to weight by molecular weight, right? So here weight is what? Formic acid weight is 2.3, and that formic acid molecular weight is 46 because of one carbon, so and two oxygen and two hydrogen. 46 is nothing but a 1 by 20. So here formic acid initial moles is 1 by 20, and that initial time, that means reaction is not started at that time. Carbon monoxide 0, the value of number of moles of carbon monoxide 0, and water is also 0 at initial time. Next, at final moles means the reaction is started. Okay, reaction is started. After the reaction is completed, formic acid moles is 0, and the carbon monoxide moles is 1 by 20, and water moles is also 1 by 20. Because of initial moles are 1 by 20, therefore final moles after the reaction is completed, final moles also 1 by 20, 1 by 20. Next, so this is information about the formic acid. Next, here another reactant, that is 4.5 grams of oxalic acid is also treated with concentrated H2SO4. So this is oxalic acid. Oxalic acid is treated with concentrated H2SO4. Just now I explained concentrated H2SO4, it is act as a dehydrating agent. So therefore, water is removed from this oxalic acid, and that water is absorbed by the concentrated H2SO4, and the products are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and water. So here carbon monoxide, here also carbon monoxide formation takes place. Next, this oxalic acid initial concentration means at the time equal to 0, initial concentration. So here initial moles equal to moles, number of moles equal to weight by molecular weight. Here oxalic acid weight is 4.5 grams, 4.5, and oxalic acid molecular weight is 90. Therefore 4.5 by 90 is nothing but 1 by 20. So initial moles of oxalic acid is 1 by 20. Initial moles of formic acid is 1 by 20 in this reaction. Next, at the T equal to 0, the initial moles of carbon monoxide 0, at carbon dioxide moles also 0, water moles also 0, product moles is 0 at T equal to 0. but at t equal to some time means reaction is continued or completed. So the final moles, oxalic acid moles is 0, and carbon monoxide moles is 1 by 20, carbon dioxide mole is 1 by 20, water mole is also 1 by 20. Next, so here carbon monoxide, after the completion of reaction, the formic acid react with concentration to sulfur. After the completion of reaction, carbon monoxide is 1 by 20, and here also carbon monoxide is 1 by 20. Okay. Next, CO2 is absorbed. Here the water is absorbed by, here water and water both are absorbed by concentrated H2SO4, and the carbon dioxide CO2. So CO2 is absorbed by the KOH pellets. CO2 is absorbed by the KOH. Therefore, remaining product is only CO. Carbon monoxide is remaining. Carbon monoxide is remaining because of water is absorbed by the concentrated H2SO4. Carbon dioxide is absorbed by the KOH, but remaining carbon monoxide is remaining in this reaction. Next, therefore, number of moles of carbon monoxide, here number of moles of carbon monoxide 1 by 20, and here number of moles of carbon monoxide is 1 by 20. Therefore, 1 by 20 plus 1 by 20 is simply 1 by 10. Next, so the remaining product is what here? Carbon monoxide is remaining, and that carbon monoxide in grams. Therefore, left of mass of carbon monoxide equal to moles into molar mass. So, number of moles of carbon monoxide 1 by 10, 1 by 10, and molar mass is of carbon monoxide. So, carbon 12, oxygen 16, 16 plus 12, 28. Therefore, 1 by 10 into 28 is nothing but 2.8 grams of carbon monoxide is remaining. Therefore, C is the answer. Next, question number 2. Nitration of aniline. Nitration of aniline in strong acidic medium. In strong acidic medium also gives metanitroaniline, because what is the reason? So aniline, if it is undergoes nitration, we are expected ortho substituted nitroaniline or para substituted is nitroaniline. But here nitration of aniline is strong acidic medium. In strong acidic medium, it gives what? Metanitroaniline. What is the reason? Option A. In spite of substitution, NO2 group always goes to meta position. Option B. In electrophilic substitution reaction, NH2 group gives meta directive. Option C. In absence of substituent, NO2 group always goes to meta position. Option D. In strong acidic media, aniline is present as enalinium ion. So, which is the correct answer? Okay. So, therefore, see here, this is a hint. This is a hint. Aniline in strong acidic media. This is NH2. NH2 benzene group is called as a aniline. Aniline in strong acidic media H plus, that aniline is converted into anilinium ion because of this lone pair of electrons are donated to the H plus and it is converted to anilinium ion. That anilinium ion, it is undergoes nitration. That anilinium ion is meta directing group. Okay, anilinium ion is meta directing group. Therefore, this NO2 electrophile is substituted meta position. Therefore, we get a meta nitroaniline. Okay, we get meta nitroaniline. Actually, aniline here, NH2 group, we are expected ortho substitution or para substitution. But here the product is meta substitution. What is the reason? Aniline in the presence of strong acidic media, it is converted into anilinium ion. That anilinium ion is gives meta substitution. Therefore, D is the answer. Question number 3. Which of the following oxide is most acidic in nature? So, which of the following oxide is most acidic in nature? So, option A magnesium oxide, option B beryllium oxide, option C barium oxide, option D calcium oxide. So, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, barium, strontium, barium means second A group element oxide. So, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. So, second A group element oxides. So, in this second A group element oxides, which oxide is most acidic in nature? Most acidic in nature. Right. So, these are the metals, second A group elements, alkaline earth metals. In metals, moving down the group, so from top to bottom means from beryllium to barium, from top to bottom, this metallic character is increases. Metallic character is increases means barium is most metallic in nature when compared to the beryllium. So in metals, moving down the group, metallic characters increases. So basic nature also increases. Means barium oxide is most basic in nature. But the question is what? Most acidic in nature. Barium oxide is most acidic, most basic means beryllium oxide is least basic. So therefore, it has just acidic character when compared with the remaining. So therefore, beryllium oxide is most acidic in nature. Therefore, B is the answer. Question number 4. The difference between amylose and amylopectin. Amylose and amylopectin is option A. Amylopectin have 1,4 alpha linkage and 1,6 alpha linkage, and amylose have 1, 2, 4 alpha linkage and 1 to 6 beta linkage. Amylopectin have 1,4 alpha linkage and 1,6 beta linkage. Option D. Amylose is made up of glucose and galactose. Glucose and galactose. So here which one is correct? And what is the difference between amylose and amylopectin? Okay. See here, amylose and amylopectin, they are part of starch. So starch is a polysaccharide, and that starch polysaccharide, it consists of two parts. Those are amylose and amylopectin. So this amylose and amylopectin. First, go to amylose. Amylose, it is a linear polymer. Amylopectin is a branched polymer. Next, the difference in between amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is linear polymer, amylopectin is branched polymer. Amylose is unbranched. There is no branches in amylose. It is a straight chain polymer. But amylopectin, it has straight chain and also some branches. Okay, it is the branched polymer amylopectin. Third one, amylose, in that amylose part, alpha D plus glucose and another alpha D plus glucose, they are linked through one alpha D plus glucose C1 carbon, another alpha D plus glucose C4 carbon, C1 C4 C1 C4 C1 C4 linkage. So that alpha D plus glucose, alpha D plus glucose, alpha D plus glucose, C1 C4 C1 C4 C1 C4 linkage and form a linear polymer, that is caught in amylose. But in amylopectin, so linear polymer contains C1 C4 C1 C4 linkage. But branched polymer, branched because of amylopectin, it contains linear and branches, right? In linear, C1 C4 C1 C4 linkages in between the alpha D plus glucose. And in branch, C1 C6 C1 C6 C1 C6 linkage in between the alpha D plus glucose in branches. Okay, so again, amylose is linear polymer, amylopectin is branched polymer. Amylose is unbranched, amylopectin is linear and branched. And amylose is alpha D plus glucose C1 C4 linkage only. But amylopectin in linear C1 C4 and in branch C1 C6. So therefore, first amylopectin have 1,4 alpha linkage. Amylopectin has linear and branches, right? In linear 1,4 alpha linkage, and in branch 1,6 alpha linkage. So therefore, this is the answer about amylose and amylopectin. So, but amylose is made up of glucose and galactose. That is wrong because of amylose is made from alpha D plus glucose units only. So, question number 5. Regarding cross-linked or network polymer, the question is about the polymer. So, about this cross-linked and network polymer, here some of the options are given, some of the statements. In this, which of the following statement is wrong statement? We have to select the wrong statement. First A, they contain covalent bonds between various linear polymer chains. They are formed from bi and trifunctional group monomers. Examples for cross-linked or network polymers are becylate and melamine. Option D, they not contain strong covalent bonds in their polymer chain. Okay, which of the statement is wrong about cross-linked or network polymers? So polymers, we have the different classifications of polymers. Okay, so polymers, these classification based on their structure. So linear polymers, branched polymers, and cross-linked or network polymers. Here the cross-linked or network polymers means the first it contains a straight chain and some branches, okay, more number of extensive branches. So that is called as a cross-linked or network polymer. So that polymer it look like a network zigzag arrangement, network polymer. So here the cross-linked polymer or network polymers are formed from the monomer. Those monomer contain bifunctional and trifunctional group. Okay, so if the monomer contain bifunctional and trifunctional group, then that monomers are formed cross-linked and network polymer. Next, in between those monomers, so here monomer contain bifunctional group or trifunctional group. Monomer contain bifunctional group, trifunctional group. Then they form cross-linked or network polymer. In this monomer, in these two monomers, a strong covalent bonds are present. A strong covalent bonds are present. And example for these cross-linked or network polymers is bakelite and melamine. So bakelite electrical switches. Okay, bakelite and melamine. So these are examples for cross-linked or network polymer. So therefore, regarding the cross-linked or network polymer, once you observe, they contain the covalent bonds between various linear polymer chain. Yes, it is the right statement because of in between the two monomers which are involved in cross-linked or network polymer, a strong covalent bonds are present. And next, they are formed from the bi and trifunctional monomers. Yes, here the monomers contain bifunctional group and trifunctional group. Then only cross-linked or network polymers formation takes place. This is also correct statement. Example for cross-linked or network polymers is bakelite and melamine. And option D, they not contain the strong covalent bond. So this is the wrong statement. Question number 6. In the reaction, so here one of the organic reaction is given. Phenol, phenol react with chloroform and NaOH. It forms the product like this. So here CHO group is substituted at the position. That is the product. And in this reaction, what is the electrophile? What is the electrophile? Option A, dichloromethyl cation, dichloromethyl cation, and formyl cation, aldehyde group CHO, formyl cation, and dichloromethyl anion, dichloromethyl anion. Next, dichlorocarbene, dichlorocarbene. So in this reaction, which one is the electrophile? See student, here phenol in react with sodium hydroxide, sodium phenoxide, and here from this chloroform, aldehyde group is introduced, CHO group is introduced. Therefore, we are expected the CHO group is electrophile. We are expected that CHO group is electrophile, but that is the wrong because of in this reaction and in this reaction is called as a Reimer-Tiemann reaction. Okay, so the name of the reaction is Reimer-Tiemann reaction. In this name of the reaction, first chloroform in the presence of base, chloroform in the presence of base. Here NaOH it is decomposes as Na plus and OH minus. That Na plus reacts with the OH group and forms sodium phenoxide. And here OH minus group is remains. That OH minus attract the proton. I mean attract the proton because of base. Therefore H plus is attracted by the OH minus. Water is eliminated. OH minus from the base, H hydrogen from the chloroform. Water is eliminated. Therefore CCl3 negative charge is remaining. And here carbon contain negative charge and 3 chloride. From this 3 chloride, 1 chloride is eliminated. That is called alpha elimination. So if 1 chloride is eliminated, here CCl2, 2 electron. So dichlorocarbene. This dichlorocarbene is substituted at argo position and by the hydrolysis that is gives aldehyde. So therefore dichlorocarbene is a electrophile in this Reimer-Tiemann reaction. Next, D is the answer. Question number 7. Carboxylic acids have higher boiling point. Carboxylic acids have higher boiling point than aldehydes, ketones, and even alcohols of comparable molecular mass. It is due to their option A, formation of intramolecular hydrogen bond. Option B, formation of carboxylate ion. Option C, more extensive association of carboxylic acids via van der Waals force of attraction. Option D, formation of intermolecular hydrogen bond. Okay, this is the question. So here the question is, carboxylic acid has high boiling point when compared with the same molecular mass of aldehyde, same molecular mass of ketone, and same molecular mass of alcohol also. Okay, so why the carboxylic acids have higher boiling point when compared with the aldehydes and ketones and alcohols of comparable molecular mass? What is the reason? Because of, once you observe, this is the carboxylic acid R C double bond O OH, carboxylic acid R C double bond O OH, carboxylic acid. So in between these two one carboxylic acid, another carboxylic acid. In between these two carboxylic acid, here oxygen, here hydrogen, and here oxygen, here hydrogen. In between the oxygen and hydrogen, a force of attraction is present. That force of attraction is called as a hydrogen bond. Hydrogen bond. Due to the presence of this hydrogen bond, they are so associated liquids, and these hydrogen bonds are formed in different carboxylic acid. This is one carboxylic acid, and this is another carboxylic acid. If the hydrogen formed in different molecules, then that is called as a intramolecular hydrogen bond or intermolecular hydrogen bond. Yes, intermolecular hydrogen bond. If the hydrogen bond forms in different molecules, that is called as a intermolecular hydrogen bond. Due to the presence of this intermolecular hydrogen bond, the carboxylic acid has high boiling point when compared with aldehyde and ketone. Therefore, formation of intermolecular hydrogen bond in carboxylic acid, those are having high boiling point and melting point. Answer D. Next question number 8. Here the compound A formula C8H10O is formed to is found to react with sodium hypohalide NaOH, and that NaOH is produced by reacting Y with NaOH. Okay. Next continuation, and yields a yellow precipitate with a characteristic smell. Here compound A and Y is what respectively? That is the question. So option A, CS3 benzene CS2OH and I2. Option B, so here benzene CS2 CS2OH and I2. So option C, so benzene CHOH CS3 and I2. Option D, CS3 benzene CS3OH I2. So here what are A and Y? That is the question. See students, it is what kind of reaction? First we have to identify what kind of reaction. Yellow precipitate, this is important. Yellow precipitate is obtained in this reaction, and sodium hypohalide NaOI, sodium hypohalide. So NaOI is the reactant and product is LOPPT. With NaOI, the product is LOPPT. Then it is what kind of reaction? Haloform reaction. This is the clue. Haloform reaction. In haloform reaction, reactant NaOI is one of the reactant, and finally product haloform. That haloform is in yellow precipitate. Therefore, based on these two, yellow precipitate and NaOI, based on these two clues, the reaction is said to be haloform reaction. So haloform reaction is shown by what kind of components? Haloform reaction is shown by what kind of components? if the reactant contains methyl ketones, so methyl ketones like this CH3C double bond O, methyl ketones are CH3CHOH group. Because of this group also by the oxidation it is gives like this. Therefore, these two groups arrangement, like these two groups arrangement, then only they gives the alloform reaction. That is important, student. Like a methyl ketone group CH3C double bond O group, or like a CH3CHOH group. So these two groups only gives the haloform reaction. So therefore here A, it must be contain methyl ketone, or like this arrangement only. Okay. So what is haloform reaction? For example, CH3CHOH group arrangement. CH3CHOH group arrangement. This group arrangement it is participated in haloform, right? So CH3CHOH group arrangement. So react with NaOI. So this is considered as A. This is considered as A. A react with NaOI. A react with NaOI, sodium hypohalide. That NaOI is obtained from reaction of NaOH plus I2. Okay, reaction of NaOH plus I2. NaOH plus I2 it gives what? NaOI. So this compound when it is react with NaOI, here this group methyl ketone group or CHOH group is converted into carboxylate group and also form iodoform. Here iodine is there, therefore it forms iodoform. That iodoform it is in yellow precipitate. It is in yellow precipitate. So therefore here NaOI, some of the reaction same compound A C8H10O is found to react with NaOH plus I2. NaOH plus I2 or NaOI both are same. Okay, both are same. So, and yields here yellow precipitate. Here yellow precipitate is what? So, iodoform is the yellow precipitate. Therefore, it is alloform reaction. Very, very, very important concept is alloform reaction is shown by methyl ketone CH3C double bond or CH3CHOH only. So, therefore, answer C. Okay, CH3CHOH is A, and here Y is what? Iodine. Because of this NaOI is obtained from NaOH react with iodine. NaOH react with iodine, it forms NaOI. Therefore, C is the answer. Question number 9. The correct difference between first order and second order reaction is that this is chemical kinetics concept. The difference in between, the correct difference in between first order and second order reaction. Option A, the rate of first order reaction, the rate of first order reaction does not depend on reactant concentration. The rate of second order reaction does depend on reactant concentration. This is correct statement? No. So the rate of first order reaction is depend on rate of concentration. But here the rate of first order reaction does not depend on reactant concentration. That is the wrong concept. Next, half-life of first order reaction, T of half-life. Half-life of first order reaction does not depend on reactant concentration. Does not depend on reactant concentration. Okay, the half-life of first order reaction does not depend on concentration of reactant. The half-life of second order reaction does depend on concentration of reactant. Option B. Option C. A first order reaction can be catalyzed. A second order reaction cannot be catalyzed. Option D. The rate of first order reaction, does depend on reactant concentration, and the rate of second order reaction does not depend on reactant concentration. So, which one is the correct difference or correct statement in between first order and second order reaction? So, this is the hint, student. T of equal to T of half lifetime. Half lifetime for first order is independent of concentration of reactant because of T of equal to 0.693 by K. Okay, that is the equation. So T of E is independent. It is not depend upon the concentration of reactant in first order. But T of half life in second order, it is directly inversely proportional to 1 by, so I mean directly proportional to 1 by concentration of A. So therefore, option B, half-life of first order, it does not depend on concentration of A, independent of concentration, But half-life of second order is does depend upon the concentration of A. Is does depend upon the concentration of A. So B is the correct difference between the first and second order reactions.